The jack has been sighted in the wild. What does it mean for Ohio State on defense moving forward, heading into this home stretch and including Saturday against Northwestern? This is BuckIQ. That's Zach Boren. I'm Austin Ward. We've seen it, Zach. It's real. The jack is out there.
It's out there. It's not some mythical creature that everyone talks about. This is something that we know they've practiced in spring ball. They've thrown it around in fall camp a couple of times. Never let it rip in a game, and we finally saw it on Saturday. Now, I think everyone can agree, you including, that there are a bunch of things that they need to fine-tune with it. But then again, these are the first game reps of this position. I know after the game, Ryan Day and coaching staff were talking about how they liked putting it out there. Was it perfect? No, but getting guys in game reps were significant, and they're going to need it as the year goes on.
See, I have a bunch of scattered thoughts about it because it was really exciting to see it in real time. Like, okay, here it is. Jim Knowles has used this, obviously, at Oklahoma State. It was something that we were anticipating seeing with the Buckeyes when he got here. Never really materialized as a full-time or even a change-up option for Ohio State defensively. So, okay, you have that. They use it against Purdue. As you said, they're trying to get some reps with it and work it out in a game situation. That's cool. We don't always see Ohio State do that in higher leverage. Again, it's Purdue. They were always going to win the game, but it was early in the game that they used it. Okay, they're experimenting early. But then it's like, well, if you want to know what it's going to be like, is this the personnel you would definitely use on the defensive front? Probably not. So it's kind of like a mixed bag for me, which is maybe why when we look at these snaps, the coaching staff and Ryan Day and Jim Knowles will see some things they like and see some things that might be different if you have maybe different players, or let's just narrow it down to JT and Jack on the field to stop the run.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there. On the flip side, though, you talked about a mixed bag of thoughts. I know a great beat reporter named Austin Ward asked Ryan Day, after the game, or I think in the week, Tuesday of this week, about how getting different guys on the field earlier in games, if that's something that's very crucial in the success of building depth as this season goes on, with this being possibly a 17-week season. This is something Ryan Day and the coaching staff hasn't done with getting younger guys in the game early. And Ryan's remarks were they were set on getting younger guys or second or third string guys in the game, second, third series, whatever it might be, and they were sticking to that, right? And that's a hard thing to do, but Ryan Day said they were sticking to that plan. So in my opinion, I think rolling out this jack scheme, defense, whatever you want to call it, with that personnel was something that they were trying to kill two birds with one stone, right? Yeah. Get these guys game reps, get some other guys, get some other guys real life reps in a game early on in a game, like you and I have talked about. It probably didn't go completely as planned. But guess what? They have stuff on tape. They can teach it. Even with Jack, JT not in the game, they can still teach those things when you watch it in film.
What did you think when you saw it unveiled live on Saturday, Zach?
My initial thought was excitement, because knowing offense and defense and knowing how tough different schemes are, like, it goes back to 2014 when Virginia Tech threw the bear front at Ohio State. And it was like, oh my God, what's going on? Virginia Tech won it. And then you saw Ohio State hammer their checks, what they're going to do against bear front. And they go on a national championship run, right? Well, on the flip side, as a defense, it's great to show those things. And Ryan Day calls them a changeup, right? It's good to throw those changeups at an offense where you can be in 4 down. Then next thing you know, you jump into 3 down, and now your blocking schemes change, your hot reads change, your reads in general. With how many times do we see RPO in this day and age, right? And especially if you look at the college football playoff, I mean, odds are you're going to face Oregon again, right? Which they run read option like crazy. Possibility of seeing Alabama, right? Later on, like a bunch of these teams, Miami, like the list goes on and on of some of these teams.
Tennessee.
Tennessee, right? That are running read option. And so now that you're able to give them different looks instead of just staying in a 4 down look, to me, that's exciting, right? Like that's what you want to do. And that's playing that's playing offense on the defense side of the ball, and you're being on the attack. And that's what I love about it. Who knows what that's going to look like? I don't think anyone knows. I think if you ask Ryan Day and that coaching staff right now, when do you roll it out? When do you not? How many snaps a game are you going to play it? I don't think they would have any idea. I think it's situation by situation, but just knowing that you can jump into it, knowing that you can be successful in that defense is huge, especially when you're playing some of those teams we talked about.
Yeah, and that's why it's also so important to get it on film and get it in a game and see what corrections need to be made. If it's personnel, if it's scrapping the scheme, scrap the scheme. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. Ryan Day talked about that on Tuesday, Zach. There are things that they took out that were positive. The plays themselves did not lead the outcome that you would necessarily want if you're Ohio State against Purdue, but they saw some potential in there. So I need you to tell me what you see in it right now. Let's roll the tape. Okay, Zach, here it comes. You see the 3 down front. You see Mitchell Melton out there, and immediately I'm going, all right, well, this is new. What are they going to do here? What is the jack going to look like in it? We're going to have to parse through it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. And I think right here, you're bringing pressure off the top side, and something about, this defense is you can bring pressure from both sides, and we're going to see it in the following clips. But here, guess what? Goes back to pass. Okay, you got CJ Hicks out here guarding the running back coming out of the backfield. You actually get a pretty decent pass rush right here, right? The pocket's starting to collapse. The quarterback can feel it. Guess what? It's like 2 seconds right now. He's like, all right, I got to work to my check down right now. He comes out to the check down. This is very simple of pitch, catch. Let's make the tackle. If CJ Hicks makes this tackle right here, guess what? It's a 0-yard gain and you're playing 2nd and 10.
Yeah, you've got Kenyatta Jackson. He gets in there. Caden McDonald's collapsing the pocket. I think maybe that's when we're talking about, can you find the positives? Yes, the pass is completed down here. They get the check down. So, not a great throw, and not perfectly executed by Ohio State on the end here, but
yeah, not a great throw and not a great angle by CJ Hicks right here at all. Right, I understand he's going for the football, but you're working inside out, right? Like, go inside of this throw to try and bat it down instead of behind the running back right here. Like, that's the position you do not want to be in right there, right? And so instead, guess what? He goes to make a play on the football, doesn't make it. Running back makes the catch. Hey, Jermaine Matthews makes the tackle, gets him down, but it's still, a 5-yard gain, 4 or 5-yard gain, So they rallied to the football, which I love, but this could have been literally a 0-yard gain or an incomplete pass. But instead, we're playing 2nd and 5.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's what we're talking about with like the grade sheet. Like, defensive line probably getting a plus there. Everybody else didn't quite execute it. And once you get everyone on the same page, maybe that, looks a little bit different with the jack position. But they go.
And here you see double pressure, right? We saw it in the last clip that we're bringing pressure from the field. Now, guess what? We're bringing double pressure right here. And this is another thing that, we talk about guys being in positions that they're not used to with game reps. Here's one of those prime examples. And if this was game repped and you had a lot of reps at this, as Mitchell Melton did, this would not have happened. So Mitchell Melton right here, see how high he is going after the quarterback in this blitz? What he needs to do is come tighter. See that pulling guard and pulling tight end right there? He should be right on that outside shoulder and blowing this up, right? Because guess what? You still got Cody Simon over top of you. He needs to come straight down. Instead, he's high up the field, right? Play gets underneath. And then you also got Caleb Downs coming from the other side, going to make a play, right? And here you got, again, Cody Simon playing right here, right downhill. Bam, makes a great tackle. At this point, it's a 1 or 2 yard gain, right? Now it's 3rd and 4, and we're going again. It's a missed tackle. Cody might not be used to the gap scheme in front of him. And what I mean by that is when you've got 2 defensive tackles, a lot of times, you've got a little bit more protection. Here, guess what? The holes might be a little bit bigger because you only have a nose. So when your nose is working on that, you obviously have guards that are going to go. You're going to be putting a little bit more space, and you can see that right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this hole is a lot bigger than in a 4 down. You just got to make the tackle, Cody. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I'm going to sound like a broken record again. That's the part where Ohio State would look at it and be like, well, that's a little bit of an aberration. Like, Caleb Downs and Cody Simon both missed a tackle on the same play. Odds are I would bet that doesn't happen again on a play for the rest of the season, but that's just me, and I'm going to bet that Ohio State's coaching staff feels the same way. They stick with it. They're trying to rep through it, and again, it's Purdue just running the ball at them a little bit.
Yeah, correct. So, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of positives. Here's another thing that I love about this is if you rewind it a little bit, right, and we're going to see the evolution of this defense. You see the Jack moving around on the line of scrimmage. Right before this, you saw Mitchell Melton kind of inside the A gap, kind of bouncing around, then going, right there. See, he's working around. Now you can bring him from different areas of the defense. And again, it keeps the offense guessing. He gets over to the edge. He's coming off the edge. Here, look, it pretty much looks like a 4-down defense. The thing is, though, you've got kind of that rover, which they call the jack position, of being able to give you a different look. Here, they come off, and this is actually a damn good defense, right? If you look at this and you keep on letting the play run, like the run fits are great, right? Kenyatta Jackson coming down here spilling, right? The guy cuts him, which – so I hate that, but whatever. Yep. It's still a small hole, right? Like I would argue here, Cody Simon's playing on the quarterback right here. CJ Hicks needs to come stronger down and take on that guard. Instead, he's a little soft. There are so many positives here. All they have to do is just make the play. And you've seen it the last 2 plays now. Now this is the 3rd play. They're just not making the play at that line of scrimmage. There's a lot of good signs. They just need to fine tune it.
Yeah, it's finishing some of that. And I just wonder, Zach, like how much of it is truly comfort doing it the first time. Like at the end of it, some of these plays, and you mentioned this on the Boren Blitz on Monday, like the schemes have not changed dramatically. It's the pre-snap looks. Like it's hard for me to wrap my mind around, well, this is new responsibilities or doing it from a different spot. How much does that really impact the play? I mean, I don't know if you know the answer to that, but that's the speculation.
Here's the one thing. I would argue that they have not been repping this in practice until probably after the Oregon game or after the Nebraska game when they realized, like, hey, we need to show something different. The issue is practice in the middle of the season is nowhere near practice in fall camp and spring ball when you're moving a little bit faster, when you're hitting a little bit harder. Like practice during the season, people say they practice hard. It's probably 75, 80% instead of a full-blown 100% that you're going to see in a game rep. So a lot of these things are almost like timing, right? Things are just happening a little bit quicker. Your reads need to happen a little bit quicker. You need to fire. You need to make tackles. Like they're just a half a step off, which is what we've seen. And I guarantee you that's because they haven't repped this in full speed, full contact type of drills because they just started putting it out in practice and you're not going to get that same look, especially from a scout team.
Right. No, that makes sense. You see Mitchell Melton here again, moving before the snap.
Yep. Moving before the snap. You all see Caleb down here giving some edge pressure. Again, look at this penetration. Like they are so far upfield, right? They're 3 yards back in the backfield. It's just, hey, we need to get off a block, right? We need to go and make a play. Here again, guess what? Linebackers need to play downhill a little bit quicker. That's another thing in this defense, right? You're probably going to you're not as protected as a middle linebacker in this defense because guess what? You have a lot of support on the outside, but you need a thumper in the middle. And so Cody Simon, James Laurinaitis can talk about this, right? Like 4 down, guess what? You're pretty damn protected. Right here in 3 down, hey, listen, here we go. You might have a guy climbing on you. You see Cody right here. Like, he needs to go down and smack 53 in the mouth right now. He knows Caleb. Look, Caleb's on his outside. Kenyatta's on his outside. Like, go drill that dude right in the mouth and smack him. And then guess what? You're going to build a wall, and the running back's got nowhere to go. Instead, Cody's playing a little bit lateral right here. All 53 has to do is get his hands on him. And 45 has anywhere that he wants to go. The other thing is, guess what? Defense linemen, they're going to see this as well. You can't get beat one-on-one blocks, right? Like all these guys on one-on-one blocks, someone has to defeat them. But what I do love is look at the penetration. Everyone's getting penetration. It's right there. Just got to come downhill and make a play.
Yep. And that's what I remember thinking in the press box on Saturday, Zach. Well, there's the jack, and Purdue moved it on 4 straight plays. Maybe that's the last we ever see of it. But I think once you take that closer look and once the coaching staff reviewed the film, I understand why they see positive. This was not that far away.
No, I think there's a lot of positives. And I also think, like to your point, personnel standpoint, right? You got Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry in there, who I think the world of both of those guys, but they're essentially playing the 5 technique right here, right? Like they are not so much of an edge rusher right here. There needs to be more stout guys. What I would love to see them do is listen, you put Caden McDonald or Tyleek at nose, right?
Yeah.
Then you put Jack and JT as the 5 techniques who are great against the run and very strong. And then let Caden Curry, let Kenyatta Jackson, let CJ Hicks, one of those guys who's your quick, twitchy, athletic guys, be that jack where you're able to bring pressure from different areas. But guess what? You have more of a personnel that's fit more for a run fit up front with the 3 of Tyleek, Jack, and JT.
Yep, we'll see if that transpires Saturday at against Northwestern at Wrigley Field. Tyleek Williams expected to be available and probably in more than just the emergency capacity, but we'll see what that looks like and if the Jack returns again for the Silver Bullets as they get down here. Last regular season road game of the season, believe it or not. So we're also running out of BuckIQs to do, but we still have plenty more to get into.
Hopefully we have a lot more, right?
Well,
hopefully we have a lot more to do.
It'd be nice if we had 7 more of them to go, but we'll see what happens for the Buckeyes moving forward. Again, big one. Zach will be there watching Ohio State Northwestern. So will I. So we'll have a full breakdown of that throughout the week and into next week. And we'll be back next time with BuckIQ. For Zach Boren, I'm Austin Ward. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.